They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Welcome, one and all, to the SlashLot 605. I am one of your hosts, Sam the Damned Lenz. Joined with me, as always, today is my illustrious co-hosts. One of them being Blake-enstein Ginithan. How are you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. We both have an amazing cup of coffee sitting in front of us.
do.
So I'm feeling quite lively this morning, ready to do this.
I'm so excited. We also have with us in the studio Casey the Killer Kelderman. Casey, how are you today?
I am great. I'm not drinking coffee. I'm drinking a diet citrus green tea.
Nice.
Yeah. No caffeine,
cool.
so I will probably be the mild one on this show.
He's the quiet one today.
The quiet one. Silent but deadly, like farts.
We're what?
We're 12 years old.
And we're already doing
Farts.
fart jokes.
We're there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right.
We're there.
So what's on the agenda today, Sam?
What's on the agenda today? We're going to be talking about, obviously, we always start with our recent watches and what we've been doing to stay spooky year round. But we also will be talking about what I believe is one of Casey's favorite eras in horror, the post-Scream slasher. After Scream took off in the 90s, a lot of other studios and producers and all that kind of thing, they decided to jump on that gravy train of the meta, the clever, the humor of Scream by making their own slasher movies that had a little bit of self-awareness to them.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are very successful.
They were, but none were as good as the Scream.
None. In fact, I would argue out of the 4 movies that we watched for this, not to get into spoilers, but there was only one that really, really excited me. And I've already kind of talked about that movie at length on this show.
Okay.
But we will.
I think
we'll
I know what
get
it
to
is,
that
but
I think it's the one we all think is the best out of the
Yeah,
4 we are
yeah.
discussing.
And it's not that the other 3 were okay. One of them is bad. It's not that the
I
other.
think we're gonna agree which one is bad.
Probably. Yeah. I'm really excited to dig into this though, just because I know that while we all might generally agree on this, I think we all have very differing opinions about what we like and what we don't like about some of these. And so I'm pretty excited to get into this and see.
And I think we're all kind of coming from a different perspective on these, because Blake, you kind of grew up with these movies when they were coming out.
I saw 2 of these in the theater.
Did you?
At least.
And
So.
see, 2 of these were actually first time watches for me.
Hmm.
I'd only seen 2 going into this. So I rewatched.
I'm excited.
I watched all 4 of them last weekend, actually, just to prep. So
Yeah, I was sick the week of Halloween, and so I basically just got all of these, and I think I watched them all within one day.
Nice.
So I'm pretty stoked to finally talk about these, because it's been such a long time since I watched them.
And that's kind of where this idea came from to do this.
Yeah.
Was Blake is like, I'm going to watch all the post-Scream era slasher movies.
Yeah.
Well, let's just do that as our topic.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm really glad that my laziness is inspired the choice for today's topic. Because when you were like, hey, we should do this for our next topic, I'm like, yes, because I have everything watched already. So I'm fine with that.
We did that on the Backlot show too. Brian had watched a bunch of 80s fantasy movies. I'm like, you want to just do that next month? He's like, well, yeah, I just watched them all. So I'm like,
nice.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
All right. So with that being said, should we get into the fresh meat, as we like to call it?
Yeah, I'm hungry.
All right. Who wants to go first on fresh meat? Who wants to talk about what they have watched recently?
I can go first, because my list I'll keep short and sweet.
Sounds good.
Because I actually made a little deal with myself, because after Halloween I was kind of not necessarily horrored out, but I was ready to take a break from the genre, at least a little
Treason.
bit, to kind of build like like build up my appetite for it again. And I'm reaching the appetite of like, okay, I need to start throwing on some horror movies again.
I get that. I actually get that.
Yeah. So leading up to Halloween, I watched quite a few movies right around Halloween week and weekend. I watched the 2002 Scooby-Doo movie.
Great movie.
Which is a great movie.
Great movie. Matthew Lillard kills it in that movie.
He does. Hashtag Dooheads.
Hashtag Dooheads.
Yeah. So, and again, like we said on our first episode, that we'll do a Scooby-Doo episode. Yeah, we'll do a Scooby-Doo episode. And for me, this movie has a lot of nostalgia to it. Obviously,
oh yeah,
grew up with it. But it is also, it's like if you're gonna set out to make a Scooby-Doo live action movie, like this is it. Like, what else do you do with the source material? I don't know.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, the in jokes that they have, like as I've gotten older, I've found that I appreciate it even more just because there's so many things that you don't pick up on as a kid that are in this movie. I love it.
Like Shaggy and Scooby in the mystery machine, there's smoke coming out.
With Pass the Doochie playing.
Yeah. And like Shaggy's girlfriend in it, her name is Mary Jane.
Yep.
It's like, that's like my favorite name, dude. It's like, of course it is. Yeah. It's perfect casting. I love the cast. I love that Scrappy Doo is the villain. I think that's a perfect take on how the fans always thought of Scrappy. So, but I like Scrappy. I don't know why he gets a lot of hate.
Yeah, I'm not a Scrappy hater, but I also think I kind of grew up with like, you know, because I think you and I both grew up on those like VHSs of the old like 80s television movies, and Scrappy was in a lot of those, and I never got the hate.
Never did. Justice for Scrappy.
Justice for Scrappy.
Also from that era, I watched, it was actually the same night, it was Jeepers Creepers. So I don't know if it's a touchy subject to talk about Jeepers Creepers, but
I have a confession.
We can talk about the movie.
Yeah,
I've never actually seen a Jeepers Creepers movie.
I don't like it very much. I don't think it's very good, but I know it has its fans.
By the time it was coming around to like when I was getting interested in it, all that stuff about, you know, all the behind the scenes stuff that we don't need to get into had come out, and it just kind of dampened my enthusiasm. And so I've never gotten around to it.
Is it this one or the sequel where it's the high school boys on the bus?
That's the second one.
That's the one that I have more of a problem with, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I like the second one. Third one is not good. Second one's fun. It's set pretty much on a school bus. I love this first one. I've seen it, you know, at least a half a dozen times. I think it would definitely fall in the post-Scream era slashers. Like, this is kind of the Freddy Krueger of that era, if I dare say, because he's the supernatural killer. Feeds for 21 or 27?
It's within a month.
Yeah. So he comes back every 27 years for 27 days. And yeah, I love the creeper design.
If it's 27 years, they definitely took that from Stephen King's It.
I think that's what it is.
Is it?
Yeah. But this first movie, I think still really holds up. It's a nice like brother sister on a. Basically, it starts off as a road trip movie and ends up in a slasher territory. So this, I love this movie. I've seen it half a dozen times. I think it's very creepy. There's a scene at the end, towards the end of the movie, in a police station that's very tense. It's the creeper picking off people. I think, like I said, the creeper design is incredible. The way that character like transforms throughout the movie, I really love. Like, he advances. Like, you figure out towards the end, like, oh, this guy could fly. Like, what do we do now? This guy can fly. He's chasing us in this creepy van at first, and now he can fly. So I love the progression of the creeper in this movie. But yeah, I think the sequels are diminishing returns, but I still think this first one holds up, and take out all the real life behind the scenes stuff from the director. He's a scumbag. I also watched Insidious 1 and 2 right before Halloween. It's probably my favorite modern horror series. I think 1 and 2 are perfect companion pieces to one another. I do love that the second one is basically Back to the Future Part 2, but with Insidious characters, and that they go into the further and figure out where some of the scares from the first movie come out. I do love that. I still think the first one is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. I still get scared by the first Insidious. The Tiny Tim song that plays a couple times is terrifying, spine chilling. the sequence where Rose Byrne is walking through the house, like she's taking out the garbage and the camera's just following her outside, and then you cut like past windows and you see this little boy dancing inside. It's terrifying to me. Yeah, so Insidious 1 and 2, I love it. 3 and 4 are fine. They're fine movies.
I've only ever seen the first Insidious, and it bores me. I don't know what it is about that movie. It's one of the only James Wan. Honestly, it's one of the only James Wan movies that and I know I'm in the minority on it. Just something with that movie has never clicked with me. But I agree that that one shot of Rose Byrne doing the garbage, that is an effective scene. I don't know what it is about the rest of the movie though that it's never grabbed me.
I think it's because Patrick Wilson is like void of any charisma at all. I think he has no.
I think he's much
like,
better.
And I
movies.
sort of like had this weird thing where like I get Patrick Wilson's like vibe, but at the same time, like he's always like the most drab parts of the movies he's in. I don't know, like
weirdly enough, though, I liked him in the A-Team movie.
Sure. I agree with Casey. I mean, I don't like the second one. And the only reason why I don't like it is because I don't like when movies go back and explain stuff that I just didn't need information for. Mm-hmm. But it is a really interesting idea to use in a horror movie. Like I've never seen that in a horror movie. And it's possible it could have happened somewhere else. I think Insidious is, I don't know if scary is the right word, but it definitely leaves like its mark on me whenever I watch it, to where like when I walk through my own house, then my peripherals act up more. And I don't like the ending. I think the third act of Insidious is, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. But everything before that, like the dinner table sequence is
yeah,
when the Darth Maul demon pops up.
It has a great jump scare.
That's got a great jump scare.
The shot of my camera, like right now.
Yeah. The sequence with Rose Byrne and the garbage is just an all-timer. Where they hear like the baby screaming and they go to the crib, and that whole sequence, like although
there's a dude behind the window.
That feels like pretty lifted from the Ghost Watch, but it's still very, very effective. So I like Insidious for me, like just completely works, other than its last like 20 minutes. But.
See, I love that last 20 minutes. I still get scared. There's one sequence in that too where Patrick Wilson's walking around and that family's just sitting there not moving like mannequins, and all of a sudden he hears 3 gunshots go off and he comes back and they're all dead. They turn around and they're smiling after him, like, no.
The part that works for me in that sequence is when he's like in the demon's lair and the demon's like, doing his like scientific study stuff up in the thing, and then all of a sudden like Patrick Wilson looks up and the demon's just staring at him. That's the stuff that works for me. So yeah, I think Insidious is a lot of fun.
Man, you guys are making me want to rewatch this. I've
watched it with a group.
Yeah.
That's what you should do, is watch it with a group.
Because I've watched it twice by myself, and neither time really. Yeah. I don't know. I just didn't get into it, but I do like everybody digs this movie, and I feel like I'm just missing something.
Hey man, I had those too.
Yeah.
Yeah, these first 2 are like my high school. Like these were our rewatches of horror movies that we watched constantly. So.
I mean, it took me 15 years to love Reanimator. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And then I'll quickly run through the other ones. I watched Coraline for the first time.
Oh, I love Coraline. Love it.
I liked it. I didn't love it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I didn't love it.
Gosh,
I don't know what it, but it's just, I don't know what it was.
Neil Gaiman, like as an author, just works for me. I like all of his writing, and I think I'm blanking on the director's name. It's the same guy who did A Nightmare Before Christmas. It's Henry something.
Oh, yeah, Henry
Selick.
Yeah.
That's right. I think his animation style works really well with Neil Gaiman's style. And I don't know. That movie works for me quite a bit. I like it a lot.
Is that one of the Leica studio movies?
It's their first one.
I think it was their first one.
I'm not a big Coraline fan. I really dig Box Trolls, and
Box Trolls is fantastic.
Paranorman. I think Paranorman is probably my second. Like I love both of those 2 movies. I think those movies are incredible.
I don't think they've made a bad movie, honestly, because after that they did Kubo, which is really good. Kubo and the Two Strings.
I've not seen that one yet.
And then their latest one, which just bombed, but it got the Golden Globe, was the Missing Link.
Okay.
And that was a really fun movie too. They're a good animation studio.
For me, like they're sort of like where Pixar was back in the day, where it's like, oh man, these guys coming out, they're doing really interesting things, and they sort of like they're just doing hit after hit. So I'm curious to see where they go in the next like 10 years.
And it seems like in the animation category, it's Pixar or Leica winning the best animated feature.
Yeah,
it's one of the two.
Yeah, and it does bum me out because none of them have been particularly successful at the box office, but they do kind of pick up steam on like streaming and home video and that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's good.
And I think that's just the stop motion style. It's not a box office. Like even look at Nightmare Before Christmas. Like that's not picked up until
that was more
20
a cult.
years later.
What's the last like big stop motion animation that sort of was like a box office hit? Would it be like the Curse of the Were-Rabbit? Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, because that was a pretty decent hit when it came out.
Was Frankenweenie a pretty big?
Yeah, Frankenweenie did pretty well. I thought. Okay, maybe I don't know.
Just because that's is that the last one Disney put out?
Yeah, and I dig stop motion like Frankenweenie, Curse of the Were-Rabbit, anything like oh god, it's probably my favorite animation style. Just because it just feels so lived in. Like I love it. I love it so much. So. Sorry, I railroaded you on that Caroline thing.
No, that's fine. You have more to say about it than I did. Yeah, so that was Coraline. And then the next ones kind of all relate to what we're talking about today. I watched Candyman 3, Day of the Dead for the first time. Finally finishing
how was that?
The Candyman trilogy. It's terrible. It's a horrible movie. I think the first one's a masterpiece, as me and Sam have gushed about.
Hey, ho, 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 ho. I did. Me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sam was on our Candyman episode.
Okay.
That's what I was referring to.
Okay. Sorry. I was like, hey, whoa. There's 3 of us here.
Yeah, Blake. We all know you hate Candyman.
We should have our own like little like Rotten Tomatoes within this group of like 66% of us recommend.
We should.
Yeah, and we should have like something sort of like certified fresh meat or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, Candyman rules.
Yeah, Candyman rules. Candyman 2 is fine. It's good. It's a decent follow-up to the first one. Candyman 3, Day of the Dead is one of the sleaziest movies I've ever seen.
I'm in.
It's horrible. It is about this blonde... I don't even know who the actress was. It was this blonde actress from the early 2000s looking like she's trying to be Pamela Anderson.
Probably like Erica Laniak or something like that.
And she's walking around with a white tube top on the entire movie. And she is a horrible actress. And basically and she's somehow like her great uncle is Candyman, is Tony Todd's Candyman. And so she's trying to clear his name throughout this movie, but it is just super, super sleazy. There's not enough kills in this movie. In this, again, this kind of falls into that post-Scream era slashers because it is set during that time. But it just misses every mark of what made the first Candyman scary, what made it so important. And basically just, I'm sure this movie was just, they had a slasher script and said, well, we have the Candyman rights. Let's just put 2 and 2 together.
And this might be really like a stupid question, but is Tony Todd still Candyman in this third one?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And Tony Todd's, he's Candyman. He's good in the movie, but
I just never knew if they actually, because I mean, I've only ever seen the first Candyman. I just couldn't see anybody else, even after just that one watch, being Candyman other than Tony Todd.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, he gets to make out with like at least, I think it's 1 or 2 women without their tops on. So, that's his compromise for being in this movie. And then on I know a couple of these we all watched since the last time we recorded. Halloween, I rewatched on Halloween morning. It was kind of like my breakfast watch for Halloween, and that's just a must. I have two rewatches I do every year: Halloween on Halloween and Christmas Story on Christmas Day. And it's not the same without it. So, and Halloween, do I need to say anymore?
It's my favorite. In my opinion, it's the best movie ever made, and I know that catches me a lot of flack, but I genuinely believe that. I love it.
It's my favorite horror movie. So, and then I also watched. I think we all watched this at the same time or right around the same time. Scream. Yeah,
I got to see it in theaters.
I watched it the night before Halloween.
Yeah, so did I.
I watched it the day after. So.
Yeah, so Scream. Obviously, we'll probably talk about Scream a little later, but it's a perfect movie.
Yeah.
and it's my favorite script ever. I love Scream so much, and
It's so good.
yeah, and I think we've even talked about it. We'll probably just do a whole episode just on Scream.
Oh yeah,
Like it
for
deserves
sure.
its own episode. And then lastly, I'll just briefly touch on it. Grindhouse, and I watched that for the Backlot main show, where we talked about Death Proof. Planet Terror rules. I loved that movie.
Yeah,
I love the
that's
trailers. Please give us the trailers as full feature-length movies. But yeah, I would love to watch this in the theater. I wish I would have had the chance when it
What's
first
the
came out.
Eli Roth directed one? Is it Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see that
Mhm.
fleshed out into a feature length.
Yeah, I think they should do a Grindhouse too, and do I would say do Eli Roth's Thanksgiving and Rob Zombie's Werewolf Women of the SS.
Yes. Yep.
But I don't think we will ever get that, unfortunately. So, yeah, and if you want to hear my thoughts, go listen to the Death Proof episode of Backlot.
I have yet to. I've been very behind on my podcast, but I'm very excited to listen to that.
So, yeah, that was it. That is all my recent watches. So,
Sweet.
if you guys want to go ahead.
I think I'll just go because I'm just like we're gonna have like a big boomerang here since my first one is Death Proof, which the more I watch it, the more I love it. There's so many things that are really interesting in it. Kurt Russell's my favorite actor, and I don't think he's ever been better than he is in Death Proof. I think there's a great, I don't want to talk about it too much because people haven't seen it, but there's a great twist on his character that sort of like just comes out of nowhere at the end of the movie. He has this,
Yes, it does.
he has this incredible scene with Vanessa Ferlito where they're sort of like seducing one another without them really even knowing it. He talks about being a wolf without stalking people. It's like such incredible, like line delivery. The scenes where he he kills a set of girls in a car is a lot of fun and really interesting. And then a few days later, I watched Planet Terror, which is slowly coming down in stature for me. I think it's a fun movie, but ultimately, I don't think Robert Rodriguez is a very good filmmaker, and it suffers because of that.
I like Robert Rodriguez's family-friendly stuff more than I like his adult stuff. Weirdly,
Yeah, I mean,
and it might be because I grew up on Spy
Yeah.
Kids, but
I think Sin City is his best movie,
oh, I do love Sin City.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
which has a lot of horror
Yeah.
content in it. I watched the 2018 Halloween, a rewatch, I should say.
I
It's
saw that
good.
one, yeah.
It's good. It's coming down for me. I had it 4 stars. Now it's at 3 for me.
Yeah, I brought it down to about 3.5 from 4 as well.
I'd say it's my overall favorite score from that series.
Yeah, the score is the strongest
Yeah.
for sure.
I watched Peninsula, which is bad. It's very, very, very bad.
So what you're saying, I still haven't seen Train to Busan, so just skip Peninsula, just watch Train to Busan.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes.
You need to watch Train to Busan.
Yeah,
I know. I really do want to see that
It's
one.
very good.
It's been in my queue and it's on like 3 streaming services, so there's really no excuse.
I've not heard anything good about Peninsula. I know you have watched it, Blake, and I know Andy the fat dude has watched it as well. Even his name in our little group chat was
Yeah.
like what was
Thankful for South Korean cinema except Peninsula.
Peninsula.
Yeah,
That cracks me up.
It's unfortunately not good.
Won't make your best of the year list.
No, it won't make the best of anything, I don't think. And then I'm going to sort of skip a bunch because we'll talk about it in a little bit. I watched Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor, which is maybe not a horror movie, but there's a lot of like horror elements to it. This is a wild movie. I don't know where to start with this. Basically, it's about this woman who is an assassin, but she, instead of like actually going out into the world to kill people, the government agency or the agency that she works for has this technology that lets her infiltrate someone's brain without them knowing it. And then she runs their body and then they go kill the person they need dead, and then she jacks out, and then the person is there who like, oh, like, what am I doing? Or they sort of do like a thing where the person who committed the crime gets killed by the police. So there's no way to link this whole thing. I think if you're not a fan of violence, you need to stay away from this. This movie is incredibly, incredibly violent. there are some scenes where people are stabbed that look very like it looks like they just found somebody in the street and actually stabbed them. It looks just very real. You know, like when you watch like movies, you can generally tell like how they did it. This is like, okay, they actually stabbed this person. That's how good this looks.
See, and that's the type of gore that I just stuff just
it's very
gets to me.
Very it's they're like, you know, you watch a movie and you're like, oh, this is incredibly intense, and then there's like this little joke or there's like a line of dialogue that sort of relieves tension. There's none of that in this. It is for 90 minutes straight just like intense violence, very serious. Christopher Abbott, I wish this guy was a bigger actor. He's very, very good in this. The sex and nudity is also incredibly graphic. So this movie just pushes all the boundaries as far as it can sort of go. So if you want to see something that is sort of like testing your willpower, then this is what you want. If not, then stay away, because this is an incredibly transgressive movie that really goes for it and doesn't hold anything back with violence, sex, anything. But I guarantee you've never really experienced something like this before. It's a very, very icy, cold-hearted movie. So
God, your description of that makes me honestly want, like, it makes me interested. It intrigues me, but I'm also like, I don't know if I want to subject myself to that.
It's not like, oh my God, I'm gonna puke or anything.
Right.
You're watching, you're like, whoa, Brandon Cronenberg watched his dad movies and was like, where can I go next?
Jeez.
And so he sort of like brought it into the real world with the violence and the horror. And I want to rewatch it. I didn't love it. There's some stuff like about like I'm okay with a movie not explaining everything as long as like the artistic value or the aesthetics of a movie sort of push it a little more where I don't care, kind of like a David Lynch movie. And this one didn't push it far enough to where I started to ask like, well, how does this work? And how does this, and they don't explain really how everything works. So I don't love the movie, but I admire its audacity. And that's why I recommend it. That might be, I rewatched Baccarat, which is a really great like movie from Brazil. That's sort of dips its toes into horror. So I won't discuss it too much. It's really great. And then I watched one more. I watched the new Kevin Bacon movie, You Should Have Left.
Oh, how was that?
It's awesome.
Is it really?
It's awesome. Yeah.
You're one of the only people that I've heard say that, and
that
makes me so excited to watch it.
It sounds like a wild movie. I still need
the
to check it out.
the opening 10 minutes has like this girl. The movie opens with this young girl, and like she starts hearing noises in her house, and so all of a sudden, like there's you start seeing this guy like walking in the background, and it's one of those like really great horror scenes where the person's like looking in the darkness and they can't see anything, and then the girl's like this young. When I mean young girl, I mean she's like 6 or 7, and she's just like, "Who's there?" And then she goes, "God damn it!" and then goes and shuts the door. And then all of a sudden she goes back in bed, and this guy who's stalking her is like, "You shouldn't swear," and like, and then it cuts to like morning, and like Kevin Bacon is somehow married to Amanda Seyfried. I have no idea how this works, but
because he's Kevin Bacon,
sure. But like Kevin Bacon's 75 and Amanda Seyfried is 27 or something. But like, so she's an actress, and he's like this retired banker who has this shady past, and so he goes to visit her on her film set, and like there's a PA at the edge of the film set who's like, "Yeah, what's like, I can't let you in unless your name's in the list." And he's like, "My name's so and so. My wife's the main star of the movie. Can I come in?" He's like, "You're not in the list. I'm not letting you in." And so then like all of a sudden you hear someone in the background go rolling, and they start rolling, and the scene is like his wife is banging this dude in the car. And so he's sitting there, like, looking at the PA. The PA is looking at him while his wife is, like, moaning, and then they're like, "God, we got to do that again." So they do the whole thing over again.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, "Good Lord, what kind of movie is this?" And this is all before the plot starts or anything. And then they finally, like, have to go rent this house in, Wales. And then the plot starts. But when the plot starts, happening, and you're sort of like wondering what's happening, it's really interesting. It takes a while it takes a long time before you start to like really piece together what's happening. Even though like the clues are all there, like it takes a long time to get to where the movie exposes itself. And I really like that. I sort of knew like, okay, the ending is not going to satisfy me. Mm-hmm. I just know it's not going to happen. So going into the ending, knowing that, I wasn't as let down with the movie as I probably would have been if I was like, oh my God, where is this going? But it's a lot of fun. Kevin Bacon's great in it. And then the girl who plays his daughter is also really good. And there's a lot of great creepy sequences, especially one where him and his daughter try to escape the house and they end up going in like these big loops and they get cold, and a lot of really great stuff with sound design. This is a lot of fun. I was really surprised because the trailer I thought was complete garbage.
See, and I thought the trailer looked awesome. And it's David Coop, right? Who wrote and directed, yeah. And he did what I think is another underrated movie, The Secret Window. Oh, I love that movie so much. Like that one,
but he also did Storm Echoes as well.
Yeah, that's right. So like, I feel like I like David Koepp movies more than the average person, but I had heard nothing but bad things about this one.
My expectations were super low, so maybe that's why. But I had a lot of fun with it.
I'm really excited to watch this now. Yeah. Like, because I trust your opinion. Obviously, we wouldn't be doing a podcast together if I didn't. But yeah, that's awesome. I'm stoked to watch that now. So
yeah,
all right,
it's dope.
Is that everything you got?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, cool. I'll start with mine. This is kind of not really horror, kind of horror. I watched the Dylan O'Brien movie Love and Monsters, which it's about this 20-some-year-old guy. Monsters take over. Like, it's an apocalypse movie where monsters have taken over Earth, and
so it's the next Jurassic Park movie, essentially.
Kind of, yeah. And it's interesting because like there's not like one type of monster. It basically is just like for some reason, every animal except for humans, for whatever reason, are mutated.
And like, that one dog.
Yeah, and the one dog, which, oh my God, the dog is the best part of this movie. He's fantastic.
I think we need to start having an Oscars category for animals.
Yeah, yes. We really do, because if we did, this dog would be hands down the pick. Like, it's so good. It kind of plays like a mix of Warm Bodies and Zombieland. It's PG-13, so it's not like gory, but there are some tense set pieces. The monster designs are really fun. And it goes in a few unexpected directions where I'm like, oh, that's kind of an interesting way to take it. It's pretty heartfelt and just like, I don't know, not anything that's going to scare you but like if your teens are starting to get into like I hesitate to call it like horror, but like if you have a teen who's not super into like scary stuff, this is a movie that they'd probably enjoy quite a bit. I rewatched House of Wax, the remake, for the first time since I was probably like a freshman in high school. I didn't like it when I was in high school, and I think part of that was I got swept up in the whole Paris Hilton sucks.
There is a great joke in the movie about Paris Hilton and her sex tape.
Yes, there is 100%. I actually really liked this movie on rewatch. It's got some really good gore. Poor Jared Padalecki in this movie is just, he's tortured through the whole thing. And like, it just, you feel sorry for the guy. There are some really tense set pieces. I like the kind of twist at the end where I won't spoil it, but there's a set of twins at the center of this movie that are basically killing people and putting them in their wax town. Like the entire town is basically a wax museum. I found it really interesting, and it's not gonna, it's not gonna win any awards or anything like that as far as movies go, but it was just kind of a fun,
it's a solid
mid 2000s. Yeah. Like it's very 2006. Yeah, it's very 2006 from the soundtrack to, it ends with like the end credit song is My Chemical Romance's Helena, which I thought was just dope.
And I think it opens with like a Static X or a Disturbed song or something.
Yeah. it's like one of those post grunge songs.
Yeah. I just want to say one thing really quick on House of Wax. I love the sequence where everything's burning at the end.
Yes.
That is some of the best production design of horror movies. Like, it's just incredible how they did some of that stuff.
Yeah. And like they're falling,
floors are giving out and the walls are coming down. It's like how the hell did they do this?
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's
yeah.
cool because it doesn't look like it looks very practical.
Also, I think Paris Hilton gets shitted on too much. Like, what is
She's
like?
not bad in
She's
it.
not bad in it.
No.
Also, like, I mean, she gets killed.
Yeah.
So like, you get to go watch her get killed, and like for like someone who's
And her
main
death
job
is her death scene is actually one of the best in the movie.
and,
I thought.
and for where you're basically just in there screaming the entire time, she's not that bad.
Yeah,
So.
she was a half decent scream queen.
Yeah.
I thought.
I need to freaking rewatch that movie.
Yeah,
it's
you
come
really
up,
should.
It's come up so many times, and yeah, I hated it when I watched it in high school, early college, and
Casey. I actually
know.
think you would like this one.
I'll have to rewatch.
It's a lot of fun.
It's been for I swear since we started Killer Countdown, and then this, it's like it's come up so many
This is like
times.
the fourth or fifth time it's come.
I still think we
Where I'm
should
like,
do
I should rewatch this.
I still think we should do a SlashLot episode on the like first like 4 or 5 Dark Castle
Isn't there only 4 or 5?
remakes. Yeah. Yeah, well, they moved on and went into like more original stuff because they did like Splice later on and a bunch of other stuff.
Splice is great.
I've never seen Splice, but
Yeah,
I do.
It's fine.
Yeah. I also finally watched Army of Darkness for the first time on VHS, thanks to Casey.
Hell yeah.
The funny thing about this, the movie's great, but the funny thing about this is my girlfriend, the night I decided to watch it, as you guys know on Zoom, my name is Groovy Ash and my avatar is a blood-soaked Bruce Campbell. My girlfriend was meeting with this group of people for a 31-day health thing that she was doing. And she accidentally signed on to the very first Zoom meeting where she was meeting all of these people under my Zoom account. So I was watching Army of Darkness in the other room, and all of a sudden I hear from the computer, "Oh my, what is that picture?" And I like poke my head into the other room, and she's literally like hands over her face, just like, "Oh my gosh, it's my boyfriend's!" And I died laughing. It was so funny. Like, cause it's a bunch of these like suburban moms who clearly have never seen an Evil Dead movie. It just made me laugh so much. And yeah.
Love a good suburban mom reaction.
Right. I had a jolly good time watching this, and I'm sure part of it was because of that experience, but it's also just a dope movie. Not as good as the first two, but
yeah,
it's good. I watched The Babysitter Killer Queen. I don't need a Babysitter 3.
I have a quick question. Do they play the Queen song "Killer Queen" in
They
this?
do.
God
Yes,
damn it.
they do.
I'm not
needle
watching
drop
this
it.
shit. I'm not watching it.
Surprisingly, though, that needle drop is one of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah, it's a pretty good.
I'm not.
Good
I'm sorry. I'm
spot
not
for
doing that.
I thought the best use of off topic, but I thought the best use of the Killer Queen needle drop was I don't even think it made the actual movie. Maybe it did, but it was in the trailer for Atomic Blonde.
Yes.
And oh my god, that's such a cool trailer and such a cool movie. I love it.
Agreed.
Skipping a bunch because these are the ones we're talking about. I rewatched Young Frankenstein, still one of my favorite comedies ever.
Good movie.
It's fantastic. I rewatched Ready or Not. Every time I watch this movie, I like it a little bit more. I remember being a little like on it when I saw it in the theater. Just like, I don't know. It just didn't quite get me pumped the way I thought it would. And every time I've watched it, I liked it better. It's moved from a 3-star to a 4-star for me.
Yep.
That
movie rules.
Rewatched Jennifer's Body. I'm sorry, guys. This is damn near a perfect movie. I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
It's one of my favorites. Rewatched The Nun. Actually, like this movie is better than I think a lot of people give it credit for.
Agreed.
The set design, the cinematography, Bonnie Aarons as Valak is there's just a lot of good elements there.
Yeah.
I love when oh my god, why am I Taissa Farmiga? I love when she takes her vows finally at the beginning of the third act. It feels like feels like in the Power Rangers where they like all team up and they like all of a sudden get these like super,
Yeah.
She's like, it's like a superpower, and I just love it.
I need to rewatch that one. I watched it in the theaters and I didn't love it, and I was like,
it's my favorite
Yeah.
movie outside of the Conjuring, in the Conjuring universe, outside of those first two.
Right.
Man.
Yeah. I like it. I don't think it's, if you go into it expecting Conjuring level stuff, like you're going to be disappointed.
There's some like great
but-
Italian filmmaking in
Oh,
the
yeah.
one.
Yeah. It's great. They're
My problem
some
is-
great
it's-
visuals.
My problem is it feels like every scare is just a scare and there's no payoff to anything. Especially when
It is a little
he's
heavy on
buried
jump
alive
scares.
and then just nothing happens. I'm like, what
Oh, see, I love that.
what's going on?
And is
thought it was
that
great.
is that Damien Bursch?
Berkshire.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
he's such a great actor.
Yeah, he's great in it. I mean, I wish they gave him more to do. I wish they gave all the actors
Yeah.
more to do.
Yeah.
But I think the cast does well with what they have.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Yeah. Me too.
I enjoy the way they defeat the nun too, and I won't spoil.
What's
that,
your guys'
but-
favorite spin-off of the Conjuring movie? Blake, yours is
The
The
Nun.
Nun.
Yeah.
I think mine is Annabelle Comes Home. I just love that haunted house.
Is that the
thrill ride.
sleepover one?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just dig that one so much. It's not.
Creation's really good too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Creation's really good, but Creation's dark. Like I can throw on Comes Home just about any time and just have fun with it, but I have to be in the right mood for Creation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know.
I enjoyed parts of Comes Home. I just wish they would have skipped the whole werewolf thing.
Oh, see, I like the werewolf.
Yeah.
but-
See, I'm kind of on both ends of that because I'm like, yeah, we get the werewolf finally because
It's
I've been
cool.
waiting for the werewolf, but I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I wanted Conjuring 3 to be the werewolf.
And,
Yeah.
and also, isn't it a CGI werewolf?
No,
Yeah.
it's actually a practical one.
Is it?
Yeah, it is actually
Mm.
a dude in a suit. If you watch like the behind the scenes stuff,
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
just
but
that
is it, like
they
scary stories to tell in the dark, like style of
Where they kind of
practical,
do
but
digital over it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and there's a little bit of that too, but I don't know.
Just give us the werewolf. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
That's my favorite of the spin-offs.
I rewatched The Hunt. I'm in the minority that actually likes this. I don't think it works
I
as a
think a lot
social
of people
commentary.
like it, don't they?
I don't know. Like there was so much hate for it initially, and I just
I think
I
maybe
think,
that was more because of the controversy. Like this,
Yeah,
this is
probably.
why it got pushed back.
well, and it doesn't work as a social commentary like at all. I mean, it's
I just think it's been done before.
but it
Too many
also.
times.
I mean, Betty Gilpin just makes this
Yeah, it's a
movie.
star-making performance. Like,
She kills it.
I might have
She-
to update my schmuckies now that we're talking about this movie.
Yeah, she's fantastic in it. I rewatched it because I know we're coming up on the end of the year. I assume we're gonna do a best horror of the year
Yeah.
episode. So I've been kind of trying to rewatch some of them that I've thought like maybe
There's these movies
you
that,
know.
like, I don't know if I'd call it a horror movie.
Yeah, and that's the thing with that one too, is it's not
But I'm not
necessarily
gonna,
horror.
I'm not going to
but
tell you not to
it's-
play. Like for me,
it's genre,
for me, Ready or
I
Not's
guess.
not a horror movie.
oh really?
period,
See,
yeah.
I consider Ready or Not a horror movie,
Yeah.
but
I don't count 15 seconds of screen time horror as a horror movie. So
fair. And then the last one that I want to talk about. You can check out my review on backlot605.com of this.
here we go.
It is potentially
Sam Lenz hot take.
my
Incoming.
my
Three,
favorite.
2. one.
It's my favorite movie of the year. It really is. I
La Llorona.
like. You know, I
You rewatched QB Halloween?
did I probably.
That was the joke.
Oh,
Your favorite of the year.
well, that's definitely one of them. Yeah, it's top 5 still. No, Freaky just. Goddamn, guys! I really wish you would have watched this beforehand because I feel like we could discuss this really well. But Vince Vaughn, he gives my favorite male performance. It's not Elizabeth Moss in The Invisible Man, but I'd say like. Dare I say I actually liked Freaky even more than The Invisible Man. I think The Invisible Man is a better horror movie, but as far as just all around movie goes, I Freaky just hit every note for me. Vince Vaughn is great. Catherine Newton is phenomenal in this. Like, and the supporting cast all just knock it out of the park. There are actually like really good gory kills. Amazing set pieces. If your problem with the Happy Death Day movies was the PG-13 rating, Christopher Landon has heard that, and he has given his rebuttal in Freaky because it is very much an R-rated movie, and it works. Table saws are used, chainsaws, butcher hooks. Like, God dang it, I love this movie so much. It was actually hard for me to write a review that wasn't just me going like, go see this movie. Just go see it. Vince Vaughn. I don't know, guys. I have yet to go in for my rewatch, but I need to see it again in theaters. It's fantastic. It's my favorite movie of the year so far. I love it.
I'll see it eventually.
Yeah, I'm hoping to go out this Thanksgiving weekend to go watch it. That might be my Thanksgiving movie watch in the theaters. Because I want to watch it in the theaters when it's still there, and I think this might be its last week. I'm looking forward to this movie. I love the trailer. I like the first Happy Death Day. Don't love the second one.
See, and I think both of them are on par with each other. I love those movies a lot.
I like the idea of the second one. I just don't think it's a horror movie. But
I don't think it's a horror movie either. I enjoy it for what it is, being like more of a sci-fi comedy.
I like Jessica Roth though.
She's really good in both
She's
of them.
fantastic.
I really like her a lot. She's sort of wish like maybe more people would take a chance on her for some bigger stuff. Or she could just become a scream queen and live on that legend.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love it. I think Chris Landon is maybe one of my weirdly enough, I think Chris Landon is one of my favorite working directors right now. His blend of horror and comedy just works for me.
Scout's Guide is good.
Scout's Guide is awesome. I love Scout's Guide. He actually, I was looking at his.
Go to the strip club.
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen that. That's a fun movie.
They've got the zombie that sings Britney Spears with them. Like, just so much of that movie is so much fun, and I love it. He also, I was looking into his filmography, and I didn't realize this, but he wrote Disturbia with Shia LaBeouf, and I'm like, I love that movie.
I like that movie. Yeah.
And so I think Chris Landon he works for me on just a basic, like, I connect with everything he does.
He understands the genre.
Yeah. And
which Paranormal Activity did he do?
Was
either
it
4 or the marked ones? It was one of those two or both. I don't know.
I think he worked on scripts for both of them. I think he directed 4. I can't be for sure though.
Okay.
So, but yeah, he's just good. He's fun, and he makes horror movies that are definitely geared towards teenagers, but it never feels like pandering. It still feels like as an adult I can enjoy them.
It doesn't feel like a studio meddling with it.
Yeah.
Being a teen movie, like trying to get teens to watch this horror movie. It feels like he understands the genre and where like teens can find an entry point into it.
Yeah, exactly. And I love it. He's a lot of fun. So
is that all you got?
That's all I got. Thanks for letting me gush about Freaky, y'all.
He directed the marked ones.
He directed the marked ones. Okay.
That's a horrible
movie. I didn't care for that one so much, but there's really only one Paranormal Activity that I actually like, and it's 3.
Yep.
Yes.
3 is fantastic.
Sam belongs.
I remember seeing that opening night in theaters in a sold out crowd, and it's still one of my favorite theater experiences ever.
That movie scares the hell out of me.
Oh yeah, it's terrifying.
I think we're like in the minority of like we're like 3 is easily the best.
No, I think 3 is the most loved, like across the board.
You know what's funny is about a month or 2 after I watched 3, I was house sitting for my grandparents and watching their dog while they were out of town for a week. And they live out in the country, And I looked out the window like my second night that I was there, and I saw a bunch of people out standing around a bonfire about half a mile down the road. And it scared the hell out of me. I was like locking the doors. I got my grandpa's shotgun out. I was like, nope, this isn't happening.
It's funny.
All right, should we go to the main topic?
Main topic. I'm feeling it.
Let's do it. Excited for this.
I'm buzzing from all the coffee.
Yeah.
Sam's getting freaky.
I was actually drinking a bunch of coffee before this too, so I'm like really buzzing.
I had a cup before this as well, so I'm ready to light this up.
All right, so should we start a little bit with the history where the genre is at this point and our history with it as well?
Sure, we can do that.
Because we kind of touched on it, but I think we start with Scream. And
which is okay.
It's a fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's fine. It's nothing groundbreaking or special or long lasting about it.
No, it's fine. No, we all love Scream. I think
Scream
all of us put it in as one of the greatest horror movies ever made.
It's GOAT status.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It's a 5-star movie, hands down.
Yeah. And
check. Yep, 5 stars.
Yeah. But at that point, the genre of at least slashers is pretty much dead.
Yeah.
Because we're getting to the point where it's getting straight to VHS sequels. We're getting sequels that no one's watching. Jason
We're getting
Goes to Hell.
Candyman 3.
We're getting Candyman 3.
Halloween H2O.
Halloween. Oh, that's after this.
That's what I meant, right?
Yeah.
No. Right before this. Sorry, right before Scream, where we're at.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
So we're getting like Freddy's Dead and the end of Jason. Like everybody's, it's the end of the genre pretty much.
Yeah. Slashers were dead.
Yeah, and I think the only one really going by that point is Chucky was kind of just kicking off, but still he's kind of reaching.
Yeah.
They've only had Child's Play 3,
because Child's Play 3 didn't do particularly well in the box office.
And again, that gets revitalized because of Scream.
Yeah.
Which we can talk on some of those too.
Also a very self-referential movie as well.
Bride of Chucky.
Bride of Chucky rules.
It's my favorite in the series, to be fair.
But yeah, so then Scream comes out, changes the genre. It's genre changing. Everything from that point forward is like, how can we cash on Scream? How can we make our own version of Scream? Slashers are back. Let's get more MTV faces on our poster and throw them in a slasher movie. So what are the 4 movies we're going to talk about with that era?
The 4 that we landed on were I Know What You Did Last Summer, which was also written by Kevin Williamson. We did Cry Wolf, we did Valentine, and we are going to talk about Urban Legend. Funnily enough, I didn't know this, but Valentine and Urban Legend were both directed by Jamie Blanks, who, besides these two, has not really made a high-profile movie since. So,
but yeah, what about? So I had seen half of them. So I had seen I Know What You Did and Urban Legend.
Yep, those were the 2 I had seen.
Yeah. So Cry Wolf was the first time. Valentine was the first time. Blake, I know you had watched all of these.
Yeah,
beforehand.
I Know What You Did Last Summer was a first time watch. Was it a first time? Maybe I've seen it before. But that was the one that I had the least amount of memory to rely on. So that was sort of like what sparked this whole thing. Maybe it was you talking about Urban Legend too on our last episode, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen that in forever. But so I have a lot of good memories with the other 3, but I Know What You Did Last Summer was the one that I had to do a lot of catching up on.
Yeah, weirdly enough, I think the one that I've seen the most is the one that I like the least, which is I Know What You Did Last Summer. And it's just because it was, I don't know how I got it, but I got the 2-pack on DVD from like a local video store that was just like, it was I Know What You Did Last Summer. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And just for lack of having other movies at the time, it was when I was still kind of building my horror collection. I watched it a lot, but I never really enjoyed it much. I don't know. There's something about like when we were talking about if we needed to include like a 5th movie and we brought up H2O, I remember I was saying, yeah, like we need something written by Kevin Williamson, right? And then you brought up that he wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I always forget he did, because to me it has none of Williamson's voice in it.
Yeah. This movie is like flesh without blood. There's nothing really there that sort of grabs me. And honestly, the 4 leads or the 5 leads or whatever, they have none of the charisma that the people in Scream do, and they don't read the dialogue, which sort of isn't even there anyways.
Yeah, and it's so weird because like then you have Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar. Speaking of Scooby-Doo 2002, they really bring a lot of character and charisma to those Scooby-Doo movies. Yeah. But I think, they had a James Gunn script, and not that James Gunn is a better writer than Kevin Williamson. I don't believe that, but I just don't see the Kevin Williamson influence in this script at all.
I'm with you. This is the worst one of this group that I watched. The one that I liked the least, I should say. Yeah, this movie is just completely.
It's void. There's
nothing there, there's a great sequence where Sarah Michelle Gellar is stalked for like 20 minutes, which I thought was really, really good. A lot of really great horror filmmaking, but like, and the ending is kind of fun, the twist. But like
that third act set piece though lacks something.
No,
Like
it doesn't for me.
There's
It doesn't for
nothing.
me.
I don't know. I just don't find it. I don't find it compelling.
Yeah.
And I like the Sarah Michelle the Sarah Michelle
We can do
Gellar.
it. Michelle'er.
Sarah Michelle.
I like the Sarah Michelle scene, but it's like it's also it's too little.
See,
too
that
late,
should have been,
you know.
for me, that should have been like the final set piece
Yeah.
of the movie, because the one on the
It's the
boat
best
is
one in
like
there.
way too much like Scorsese's Cape Fear, which
Yeah.
is done way better. And like the villain reveal is sort of like
It's lame.
okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like a let's get the next stars out to that we can like make money off this. And there's a really lame Dawson's Creek reference in the movie. And Freddie Prinze Jr. I just don't think is a good actor.
No.
I mean, I don't think I'll get much
I think
kickback
when
on
he
that.
gets to
And it's the same thing with Jennifer Love Hewitt. She's not very good.
no,
But
there's no charisma.
Yeah, the whole movie lacks
Ryan
a punch.
Philippe is just
Yeah,
overacting
Ryan
the
Phillippe,
entire time.
What is going on? Like he's coming from way out of left. Like
Yeah.
he's out field of left field coming into this. It doesn't work for me at all. And sorry to cut you off, but like if I saw Scary Movie before this, and so the entire time I'm watching this, I'm just like, man, where's like the joke with Shannon Elizabeth? Where's the like where are the jokes? And so like
Where's the humor?
Where's the fun?
I shouldn't fault the movie for that, but like Scary Movie ruined this movie way more than it ruined
Scream
for me, which I think Scream's own status holds it above which is why it doesn't do that for me.
And I think the movie's cardinal sin, like unlikable characters in horror have always been a thing. Like I mean, look at the Friday the 13th movies. Like there are very few likable characters in those movies. There's very few characters at all in those movies. But like the opening of this movie sets these characters up to be so unlikable.
Well,
that
not all of them.
Yeah, not all of them, I suppose.
I mean, I can't think of a thing that Ryan Phillippe does in this movie that makes me like him. Like, there's nothing he does in this movie.
Well, I mean, he essentially kills the guy. Like, he goes in, the guy's still alive underwater.
Yeah.
And he literally drowns him.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at that point, you're just like, okay, like,
yeah,
are the kids the kids are the killers in this? Like, Jennifer Love Hewitt is the only one that seems to feel any kind of remorse. And you open with that, and I'm just like, no, like, I don't like these kids.
Yeah.
I don't care what happens to these kids. And if the movie ups the camp factor, that can be okay. But it never does. It never has any humor.
There's nothing enjoyable about this movie, really.
No, I feel like we're talking and Casey is just sitting here. Like, what do you think, Casey?
Because I like this movie. I like this, and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. I think the sequel is on par with this one. The sequel is more fun, for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the sequel, it has that fun factor that this one's missing.
I mean, it has Jack Black with dreadlocks.
Yeah, exactly.
A wild Freddie Prinze Jr. performance in that movie. It's all set on this resort where apparently 5 people are there.
And I remember the tanning bed scene.
The tanning bed
really
scene
good.
is great.
Yeah.
But I Know What You Did Last Summer. I think but I go into with a perspective of this isn't Scream. This is Kevin Williamson's slasher movie. Like, Scream is his take, his meta take on slashers, and this is like if he were to just write.
Then maybe he should have made this one first.
I think that's why he got this one made. That's definitely why he got this made. Is because of the success of Scream.
I feel like you don't make the meta movie first, and then try to like make the movie that you're supposed to like not be or making fun of. You know, like So
the way I compare it is this is if Scream leads to his I Know What You Did Last Summer as a writer, this is like Tim Burton doing Ed Wood so he can make Mars Attacks. Like, he's making the Ed Wood movie after he makes Ed Wood.
Yeah, I guess I could see
in
that,
both cases, the Ed Wood is better than Mars Attacks. Scream is much better than I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
I have fun with the cast. No, none of them are good. Sarah Michelle Gellar is probably the best character in this movie. I think my biggest problem with this and the sequel is I would have swapped. I would have given. I would have wrote it with Sarah Michelle Gellar's character as our lead.
Yeah.
I think she's more interesting than Jennifer Love Hewitt. She's a better actress than Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah, I mean, she emotes more.
Which is why I think her sequence works better for me than the rest of the movie.
It's the only, to me, it's the only genuinely, like, it's the only scene that really gets me invested.
Yeah,
in
I think
movie.
I'm with you, Sam. There's like literally no one in this movie I sort of feel for. Even like the Jonathan Galecki character, I'm just kind of like, this guy's a scrub. Like, get him out of here.
He's an asshole.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. It's just,
I do like Sarah Michelle Gellar's character where she's kind of like, she's the blonde prom queen, like the queen of high school, and then she's stuck living in the hometown. After I'm like, that's your main character. Why are we not focusing?
Yeah,
on
that's
her?
That's a nice piece of character work there that I just don't think they expand on enough. You know?
No. Yeah, and I think that's just because she's the second female lead in this.
And that sucks because I agree, Casey. I think if you put Sarah Michelle Gellar in the final girl role in this movie, you automatically have a better movie.
And by this point, is Buffy out?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah.
I think so.
I'll look it up here.
Maybe.
I'm
not sure.
I mean, at that point, you do same year, 97.
Yeah. So right that high.
Buffy's probably out by now. Riding off that, I don't know why or where in the point in the casting, because I'm assuming this is where she and Freddie Prinze Jr. met.
I think so.
Not certain.
I think
but
so.
I would assume
yeah.
so. How do you not see the chemistry between those two?
Yeah.
And not make that the couple?
Yeah.
And again, I think that might work a little better than with Ryan Felipe and Jennifer Love Hewitt might have better chemistry that way, where he's kind of the asshole abusive boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think there is a better movie to be had if you were to try to do this again.
But didn't you know only blondes can date blondes and brunettes can only date brunettes?
I was thinking the same thing.
I mean, that's where they were going with that.
You just dye Freddy's hair blonde like you do in Scooby-Doo.
Right.
So,
right.
I think it's a fun movie. I think this and the sequel are like a fun back-to-back double feature.
I think I definitely like the sequel more than this, but I haven't watched the sequel since high school.
Easily more fun.
I planned to watch it, and I just didn't get around to it.
Yeah.
I've never seen the third one, which is...
Yeah, and it has none of the
called?
Cast in it.
What's that one even called?
I think I know
I'll always know what you did last summer.
Yeah. I've never watched it. Don't know if I need to.
I think I know what you did last summer. It's the Boomer edition where it's like, I think I know what you did last year.
And then the inevitable fourth one.
And Jim...
I'll know what you do next summer.
And apparently they are working on another one.
Are they really?
I think it's a remake.
They should remake this. I want to see what they can do.
I would love to see that.
Jim Gillespie is not a great director either, but he made this.
What
and
else
I
did
think
he do?
I See You is another fun slasher
I
movie.
See You rules.
I See You, aka Detox, is a fun...
It's like
it's
like character
in a slasher movie.
Yeah, it's still with a bunch of character actors, and they're all stuck in this house. Not house, but
it's a rehab center.
Yeah,
like
that looks like a freaking.
It looks like the
Soviet bunker.
It looks like the bunker from the Thing.
Oh,
yeah. So I see you rules.
Yes.
Yeah, and that I think that would also fall into this category. It's a post-Scream slasher movie.
Oh, he also did Joyride.
Oh, that's
Joyride
a great movie.
Phenomenal.
That's a great movie.
Oh wait, that's
no. That's
never
not.
mind.
That's
not
that Joyride.
Oh yeah, because that's the guy who did Red Rock West.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Joyride, another fuck. We should have done that one.
Yeah, honestly, that movie is so good.
It's better than at least one of these that we'll talk about.
It's better than about 3 of them.
Yeah. Do we? Actually, you're probably right.
I would argue it's better than all of these movies, but
yeah, actually, I might. I haven't watched it in a while, but I might put it above Urban Legend if we
so
think about
should we get the should we quit crying wolf and get to the worst one out of the bunch?
We just covered the worst.
Yeah, we covered the worst one, but we can talk about.
I'm game to talk about Cry Wolf. I really dig this movie a lot.
I will say, okay, so I watched Cry Wolf. Didn't particularly care much for it, mostly because I just don't really care for overly twisty movies.
Sure.
I find them exhausting by the end. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's happening. I don't care. But I watched this and then immediately after put on I Know What You Did Last Summer, and it like pretty much bumped Cry Wolf up a star because I was like, okay, yeah. I wasn't. Here's what I'll say about Cry Wolf. It's directed by Jeff Wadlow. I didn't know that until I literally put it on and saw his name in the credits, and I thought, oh God, what am I in for? Because the last like few movies I've seen of his, well, I've seen 4 of his movies prior to this. Never Back Down, terrible Karate Kid ripoff. Kick-Ass 2, which is one of the worst sequels I've ever seen.
Not a good movie.
It's horrible. They kill the star halfway through. They should have made it all about Jim Carrey. And then he did Truth or Dare and then Fantasy Island, both of which would be like Fantasy. Did that come out this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like probably my least favorite movie I've seen this year. If I'm being totally honest, and I haven't seen The Turning yet, which I've heard is terrible. But
I haven't seen the Witches remake either.
Yeah, but I'm going to because I have HBO Max now, guys. I'm so excited. Yeah, so I saw that in the credits, and I think going into that kind of tinted it for me because I was like, oh God, like I haven't liked anything this guy does. But I'm like, I'm still gonna give this a chance. Blake really likes it. And to be fair, I think I gave it 2.5 out of 5 because it's fine. It's okay. I think the best sequence in it is when our main character is mopping in the cafeteria or whatever.
Yeah, that's a great sequence.
Oh my God, that sequence. So what's funny is I put this on and I fell asleep about 20 minutes into it, and I woke up during that sequence, and I was like, Jesus Christ! Like I hit the jump scare where he like turns away from the window and the guy's there, and I woke up and I was like there, and that jump scare happened. I was like, oh my God! And then I watched the whole sequence because I was so hooked into it, and then I rewound it to where I last remembered. And
this is a fall asleep movie.
Yeah, I watched it again, and honestly, like even watching it again, that sequence is so good, and I think it falls into that category for me of I Know What You Did Last Summer, where it's got a great sequence in the center of it, but the rest of it kind of falls a little flat for me. I do like the ending reveal.
I think that's what pushes it over for me.
Yeah, because I mean that is acted really well.
I don't think this is a great movie or even a good movie by any standards.
Mm-hmm.
But like I think even though I'm sure if I like actually pieced the plot back together with the final reveal, I'd be like, well, this doesn't work. However, having said that, it's fresh. It's a different idea.
Yeah,
and I really liked that. Like the killer gets away in the end.
Yeah, I do like that. I like that he's literally at the end surrounded by police in a police station, and where theoretically,
but the killer walks out like, yeah, what are you gonna do about it? And just walked away and the movie ends. I really dug that. As far as like the actual movie goes, like this movie like really leans in on the one thing I noticed, because I watched Cry Wolf first before I watched Scream during this whole past month. Mm-hmm. And there's this thing that Cry Wolf does that I just really didn't like. Where like they showed flashbacks, but they did that weird thing where like it's like a camera flash, mm-hmm. and it's really loud, and then it cuts back to like grainy film, and it's like
the green looking tint.
This is just not working for me. And then I didn't realize that Scream actually does stuff like that. But like this movie leans really hard into it, and I didn't like it.
Yeah,
and like you could tell like this was like we need to just get a bunch of C-list actors to be in this, so the acting was sort of like not very good, and the lead actors like
the lead actor is basically cardboard.
And is this the one where like Gary Cole plays a British guy?
He's a British guy.
Yeah.
That didn't make any sense to me. His accent is terrible.
Oh my God, he's the best part of
this. That was one thing for me. Like I was watching this, and the main character has a British accent.
Yeah.
And then he goes to like this American boarding school that looks like it should be a British boarding school. Yeah. And I'm like, where the fuck is this movie set? Yeah. You know, like.
So, yeah, I mean, like, Cry Wolf isn't great or good by any means. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. It's fun.
It's sort of like, like the Emperor Has No Clothes type of thing where not everything you're seeing is actually maybe even happening, and I kind of really dug that whole aspect of the movie. and I really, really, really dig the ending quite a bit. But
Yeah, the last scene is really good. The scene with the cafeteria.
the cafeteria sequence is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that sequence a lot. And I think if more of the movie was like that, I just didn't feel any tension elsewhere. You know what I mean? I don't think.
I tell you what, I felt more tension in this than I did with I know you did last summer.
Yeah,
Way
I would
more.
agree with that, but not to the extent that I enjoyed this one.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I don't know. I just think Wadlow has a really hard time building mood in his movies.
Sure.
You know, I don't think he ever quite gets tone right.
Yeah.
He's got some good ideas. Like, I think Truth or Dare is a really good idea that's just not executed with enough flair. And I think the same thing with Cry Wolf.
And I also
you know?
think, like, out of these movies that we're talking about, this one has like the most characters. You know, like of the, you know, like all these people are playing like the jock or the you know, like the black dude, or you know, like they're all playing like they're all swinging for the fences with their characters. So like that counts against it. Casey, I want to hear what you didn't like about this movie.
Everything besides Gary Cole's terrible accent, I didn't like.
Not even the cafeteria scene.
No, it was fine. Like, Jeff Wadlow was just not a good director.
No, I would agree with that.
And it surprises me how many horror projects he's done.
It's because they make money. Like, his last two Blumhouse movies made money, and it's because they're so low budget that people go see them.
PG-13. You have recognizable.
Yeah. I went
faces
to
for teenagers. Yeah.
I went to Fantasy Island, like, I think opening night, just because, like, I mean, there was nothing else to go see. Yeah. So I was like, screw it, I'll go to Fantasy Island. And, you know, the weird thing about that was there were a bunch of old people in the theater, and it was because
it was titled
it was titled Fantasy Island. I think a lot of them walked out of that going, what did I just watch? But, like,
where's the funny little guy?
Yeah, and I just, you know, I didn't get any of the Fantasy Island in jokes. I've never seen an episode of Fantasy Island. I was just like, whatever.
Was there any in jokes?
Yeah, like the end with the guy was named or he had the tattoo of Tattoo on him or something, and so they called him Tattoo.
Oh,
apparently, that was a character from the.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He's
the deplane guy.
So,
is that line in the movie?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I'm not going to watch to find out. I can tell you.
There is literally only one thing
to watch, but I don't know.
There's a twist at the end of that movie with Lucy Hale's character that just comes out of left field, and you're like, this doesn't work. And she tries to play the psycho killer, and I'm like, this would work better if it wasn't Lucy Hale trying to do it.
An ABC Family actress.
Yeah.
Cry Wolf is terrible. This movie's so freaking boring, guys. What? It doesn't even become a slasher movie until an hour in before we get so it opens with a gunshot kill, which I'm like, oh great, gun is a weapon in this. Like, yeah, that immediately. It's like. Again, they kind of make a reference to the joke. I'm not sure about the phallic. I like the phallic imagery, but it was a gun that was used. I'm like, well, you are a slasher movie, so at least they do switch. The killer does have a knife by the end of it.
I think the killer design is cool too.
Yes,
I like the orange ski mask, the camo coat. I mean, I think that's a really cool design for a killer. I just
also spoilers, but anytime I get to watch John Bon Jovi die, I'm all for it.
This movie's horrible. I don't care about any of these characters. Not very well acted. Gary Cole's British accent is like, why not just hire a British actor? Why does Gary Cole have to be the dad
or an American kid? Yeah, because there's no reason that there needs to be a British. It's like, I'm new here in America. I was like, come on.
Yeah,
but they cut to Gary Cole, and I'm like, Gary Cole's his dad. And then, like,
is it literally just to make him more of an outsider in this school?
Because, I don't know.
Like, it's such a weird choice.
I really liked the girl who set the whole thing up.
Yeah.
I really liked her a lot.
She was the only actress that I thought was halfway decent.
She knew what movie she was in. She was having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought she was
fine. I thought the shower sequence is a lot of fun where they're taking like the guy's like, send me a nude photo. And she sends a photo and the killer's right behind her.
That was really cool. That was pretty cool.
It's not a great movie, but.
And I think that's the problem is like so many of those scenes were so few and far between. Like I was like, it was a slasher movie, but for the first, like Casey said, for the first hour, there was no slashing. I was like, it was all like hypothetical, like they were coming up with a story and you saw this. And I'm like, well, that's not.
I think there's some good stuff sprinkled in.
I think a better version of this is you have the friends start disappearing earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
And then you reveal at the end that they all come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like kind of do it like
they needed to start that stuff. The third act stuff, they needed to start earlier.
Yeah.
Because it picks up speed and then it's over.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you can reveal it later at the end of the movie that all of them at one point were wearing the scheme, the outfit.
Yeah.
Like do a full Hot Fuzz reveal of everybody in this little group is the killer.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then I just realized this really feels like The Usual Suspects with her walking out the door.
Yep.
What was I going to say? There's one sequence that I really, really enjoyed. When they're in the library and the lights turn on wherever someone's at or they're walking. I really dug that whole idea too. But I don't think like Casey didn't like it, but I don't necessarily think he's wrong with anything he's saying.
No.
You know, like I remember watching it when I rented it, I don't know, like 15 years ago, whenever it came out. And I remember watching it and just being like, I kind of dug this. And so I could be playing off that first time.
And for me, this falls a little more into, it's a kind of a combination of post-Scream, post-Saw, because all those flashbacks feel very Saw. Like they feel like they are taken from the first Saw movie and how they do their flashbacks, and it's all handheld cam, and
the editing is very, very reminiscent of Saw.
Well, even the end is a Saw reveal.
Yeah,
she's the killer and walks away.
Which I know that Saw went off the rails as a franchise, but that first movie, I still dig it.
Who is Blake apologizing to? Saw? None of the Saws are good movies.
I don't know. I'm sure there's Saw fans out there.
I would argue that the first one is, but
my favorite one's the last one.
Jigsaw?
Yes.
I haven't seen that one yet. I stopped watching them after like 3 because I was like, these are just getting stupider.
Okay, let's get back to
We'll have to cover. Unfortunately, cover Saw.
We'll do it. No, I'm looking. I want to rewatch this series. I really want to. So
what a wild series.
So what's the next movie we want to talk about?
Should we talk about Valentine next?
Yes.
I think we should end with
the
group favorite. Yeah.
So, what did you guys think of Valentine?
I really dig it.
Yep.
I actually liked this a lot more than I thought. I think it has like an 11% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like movies that have that low of a Rotten Tomato score sounds like, Fantasy Island was bad, but like, I really like movies that for some reason are in that range because I just find something in them.
Yeah.
You know, like I thought Wes Craven's My Soul to Take, while not a good film, was entertaining enough for me. And I felt the same way with Valentine.
Yeah.
There was enough there to really energize me. I liked it.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
I really enjoyed the mask in this one.
Yes. The kills are
props
inventive.
for getting Katherine Heigl out of the movie as quickly as possible.
It makes the best move you could ever make if you cast Katherine Heigl in a movie, you kill her within the first.
It's the Drew Barrymore effect, right?
And it did surprise me because I had never.
Think she was a star back then, so
yeah, and it might not have.
Yeah,
it's probably more of a surprise to me now because like I'm thinking, out of all of these actresses, Katherine Heigl is the one that's really stuck around.
But we know that
right?
now. We know that now. But like, I think at that point she had done like Under Siege 2.
Yeah.
You know, and
so to me, like
Chucky.
Watching this for the first time, I was like, oh shit, they killed Katherine Heigl early.
Yeah.
But I know it probably wasn't that. So I think actually time will enhance that for first time viewers because Katherine Heigl is the star now.
Yeah.
It also does feel very much like that's their Drew Barrymore kill from Scream.
Yeah.
Even though they don't have an actress of the caliber of Drew Barrymore at that point in her career.
I also didn't need her date sequence.
See, I liked it. I liked it because the whole Jason thing, and it was a nice little red herring. I liked it. I liked it.
You knew right away he was not the killer.
I don't know, guys.
Any guy that talks like Dwayne The Rock Johnson from 2001 like is not the killer.
Yeah, it didn't work for me. No. But yeah, I've told you guys this before already. But like I saw this opening day when it came out, and I thought it was garbage when I saw it. And my main memory from this was they played the very first Lord of the Rings teaser in front of it. Oh, because they're both New Line movies. And I remember the Lord of the Rings trailer ended, and I'm like, "What the hell is the Lord of the Rings?" But I was on the wrong side of history on that one.
Right.
But I really enjoyed this one quite a bit. There's some really good kills. There's some really good stalking sequences.
The hot tub kill is an all-timer.
I sort of wish. What's her name? She's in freaking the Grindhouse. She's the main actress.
Marley
Shelton. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kept wondering.
Wendy
like,
Peppercorn from The Sandlot.
Why wasn't she?
Yeah, that's who it is.
Why wasn't she a bigger actress? Like I really enjoyed her on-screen.
She's also Deputy
persona?
Judy in Scream 4.
Yeah, she's so good in that movie.
Yeah.
Coming back for Scream 5.
Yeah.
Is she really?
Yeah, she is.
Or Scream.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's exciting.
I really enjoyed her. David Boreanaz, I could have done without. I don't think he's a good actor.
Was he the main guy?
Angel.
Angel? Yeah.
He has a name besides Angel.
I was about to say, like, I just know him as the Angel guy.
Yeah. So
He's not. He's not good in this movie.
Okay, and the last, like the twist at the end
The
didn't
reveal?
really. It didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work. Like I was like, can we get into
I really-
spoilers with this?
I really
Yeah,
dug.
I
that
think we can
whole
spoil
third
any of
act.
these.
Yeah. So I dig the third act, but I'm also like, when they pull the mask off and they reveal that it's the like the friend, the like fat friend or whatever.
God, that was.
I was like, okay, then why was like before they shoot her, she's not acting like she's in distress. To me,
I highly disagree with that.
Really?
She's stressed out the entire movie.
no,
Especially
I
in
meant
the
like
third act.
she feels like she's actually attacking Marley in that one or whatever her character name is, and then they shoot her, and then it's like, wait, well, why was she acting aggressively then? You know what I mean?
I guess I just feel like that was forecasted the entire movie.
Oh, okay. Well, was she?
I
So
kind
wait,
of feel like
did
they
you guys
could've-
read that as she was the actual killer then?
No.
Because like the
Angel's
nosebleed at the
the
end,
killer.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
I
I
just
also take it as like if they
Oh,
didn't-
so
if they didn't want to do the ending of reveal of his nose bleeding,
right.
they could have just left it as she was the killer, and it still would have made sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So-
I get that.
Okay,
I get that.
I guess I'm confused. Did she just put on the suit at the end? And
Well, see, that's my thing. Is like,
because I guess in my mind they were working together the entire time.
Oh, really?
That's how I read it.
I didn't read it as.
Oh,
they were
I
working
didn't read-
together. I
See,
read it
and
as
that's
she
the
finally
thing-
has snapped, and now she's
Oh,
going after.
okay. See, I don't know.
I don't
I
think
just
any-
didn't
she
know
had
what
reason
to think
sort of
of
to
it.
kill a lot of
Yeah,
people.
she did. I don't know. The ending to me kind of just biffs it because it's so like, well, wait a minute. Okay, so who is killing people?
So is
Because
Angel the kid from their middle
Well,
school?
that's
Yeah,
what I took it
I don't
as,
see
right?
why it wouldn't be.
And then like the whole, because the bow and arrow kill, I mean, in multiple kills you see the nose bleed.
yeah. That's
So it's like it's got to be Angel
Yeah.
behind the mask, but
Yes.
then all of a sudden the like whatever her name is in the mask, and it's just like, okay, so
I think it's a readily
yeah.
available mask, like in Scream.
yeah, and maybe
or Michael Myers.
Yeah.
So she just happened to buy the mask that the killer was wearing the
Yeah,
entire time.
it's just
I don't know.
weird.
I
I
guess
don't know. The ending just didn't work for me because of
I
that.
guess for me, like,
but everything leading up to that, I really like.
I guess how I saw it is like they worked together, and then he just sort of set her up to, die at that point. And then
Actually-
he got away with it. And
Yeah, maybe
I don't know.
you might be right
That's how
on
I
that.
see it.
Who knows?
But
Yeah.
who knows? It's not exactly like talking killer ending. It's not like, oh, I had this plan the entire time.
Yeah.
Like Loomis and the other kid did, but.
Well, and what I like about this is like it's not really a self-referential type of movie. Like
No,
for being a post-Scream slasher, it feels more like a throwback to those 80s
Mhm.
slashers
Yeah.
in like a genuine,
The-
we're just making a horror movie type of
The
thing,
setup
you know?
feels like it's prom night or Terror Train,
Yeah, exactly.
and I think this is maybe the best. This is definitely one of the best post-Scream slasher movies.
Yeah.
because I think it does take that same element of we have this good-looking MTV-looking cast. Like we had the
Yeah.
guy from Angel, we have Wendy Peppercorn in it, we
Yeah.
have
Denise Richards.
Denise Richards, we have Katherine Heigl, we have all the makings of that. But then it is also very much a throwback to early 80s slasher movies before we get too ridiculous. It feels it's pretty much the same setup as Terror Train,
Yeah,
where it's a kid that they pick on and then he's later revealed as the killer.
I mean the hot tub sequence with Denise Richards is
who's the cop
holy
in this?
crap, it's good.
Who's the actor who's the cop? I thought he was like a lot of fun.
Yeah, who is that?
I'll pull him up.
I've
here.
I
seen
don't
him.
think he's a well-known actor.
No,
No.
probably not. But I think I've seen.
I just
him in,
love
like,
this whole.
small things.
I don't want to go like into toxic masculinity or anything. But his whole sequence where he's like, listen to Denise Richards.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
We should take this a step further. And she's like, what are you talking? I just thought that was such a
It's
really
a great
sleazy scene.
It's a great scene that he's just like, and doesn't like.
And like
his
I
head,
I can see the
he gets
whole,
beheaded in the end, right? Because it's just his head floating in the water, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's some great kills in this movie.
Yeah,
like
what I love
about
the shower sequence.
What I love about the hot tub sequence is it goes through like 3 different ways of how she could die.
Yeah. Oh, the drill.
Yes.
The drill is terrifying. You're like, oh my
great.
God, she's got to come up for air. But you're like, oh God. And then like, it just totally takes the left turn where he's like, screw this. So he just throws in what is it, a hairdryer or something?
Something like that.
Some electrical appliance.
So like it's either like you figure at first she's gonna drown.
Yeah.
He shuts the top of the hot tub, and then he comes with a drill. So all right, she's gonna get killed by the drill, and then she gets electrocuted. Like there's 3 different ways she could have died.
Well, and honestly, there's 4 because when he first closes the thing, you think she's gonna drown, but then I think, oh, is he gonna turn the heat all the way up and we're gonna have her like boil alive like in Halloween 2 or something?
I thought that was my first.
So it's such a great scene because you really don't know.
In a way, that is the meta sequence of the film.
Yeah.
Sort of like recalling these other great kills from other movies.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I love getting a little off topic here. That's what I love about the Vicky and Dave scene in Halloween 18 is it feels like that, where Dave finds the dirt bike and you think it's going to go Pet Cemetery 2 where Michael's going to come and like rev the tire and just take his face off, like, that whole sequence had me terrifying. And that was what the hot tub scene in Valentine did for me too. Yeah. I love that scene.
It's a really good third act.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is, hands down. And it's a good opening act, too. The second act drags a little bit. There's some pacing issues in that where I'm kind of like, okay, we need to get to the next kill.
Yeah.
But once it picks back up for that third act, God, it's great.
Yeah. It's a solidly fun movie.
I don't like movies set in art museums like that, especially like because Candyman Day of the Dead has that too, and it's like it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That kill is great though.
It is. It's so fun. I love how all the men in this too, like even Angel is just a fucking sleazebag. Like all these guys, it's like, oh my God, you're a douche.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, I mean, at least there's some interesting character stuff with David Boreanaz's character. Like, he's a recovering alcoholic.
Yeah.
And maybe that whole thing was just like a ploy with his girlfriend. But I really enjoyed that stuff, whether it was real or not. But
yeah. And I my problems with the very end of the movie aside, this is one, like, I'm kind of thinking I need to get the Scream Factory Blu-ray and add this one to my collection because I like this
really
one.
cool cover art too.
It is. I'm like, this would do a great double feature with My Bloody Valentine every February. Yeah,
I was thinking the same thing, which also has a great remake.
Yeah. The remake on that is so good.
Yeah,
I actually love the remake of that one.
Should we just
funny story actually?
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, another off-topic little tangent, but when the My Bloody Valentine remake came out, I thought it had already, I thought it had come out on DVD earlier than it had. So I went to FYE at my local mall back when FYE was a thing. Is FYE still a thing?
Yeah, still somewhere. Yeah.
Huh, okay.
And so is Suncoast.
And I saw My Bloody Valentine on DVD. I didn't know it was a remake of a movie at that point, right? And I saw My Bloody Valentine on DVD and I picked it up because it was only like $6. I'm like, oh my God, this is like brand new. I thought I like had a steal and I bought it and I took it home and I put it on and I'm like, this is not a modern movie. I'm like, oh shit. My Bloody Valentine 3D is a remake. And I watched this movie like thinking, oh God, I bought the wrong one. And I loved it. I was like, holy shit, how's the remake going to be better than this?
They're both great.
And they're both great. Yeah. I love it. So it's just funny.
I saw My Bloody Valentine 3D in theaters in 3D.
Did you?
And it was
I got the DVD with like
fun.
the 3D glasses and all that. And I went over to my friend's house who had like a wall-to-wall television and we watched it in his dark basement, just all the lights off. It was so much fun.
It was a lot of fun.
That Tom Atkins kill is just, God damn, I love it.
Should we talk about my favorite of these rewatches?
Yes, because it's also my favorite. Casey, is this your favorite?
What's that?
Urban Legend.
Urban Legend. It's the best one. Yes.
Oh my god, this movie, guys! I still rewatched this before this. I've literally watched it like probably 3 times this year because I just love this movie.
It's solid. Yeah. So another private school set movie where a bunch of kids are taking a Urban Legends class.
Yeah. Robert Englund inexplicably is an Urban Legends professor.
Yeah. And they sort of play off his mystique as Freddy Krueger in this, a little bit, which is a lot of fun. And of course, people start dying.
This is my favorite Freddy Krueger role outside of the Elm Street series. I think.
Kids start dying in Urban Legend fashion.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to say this, and I don't want it to mean to sound like it's not a good movie because I obviously love it. This movie peaks in the first 10 minutes.
Oh, it does. That opening sequence is so good.
Like I said, it's really good, but like this opening sequence, like if you pulled this out of the movie and as a short film, it works. All of it works. It's scary. There's a great twist. Actually, now that I think about it, there is a movie that I saw called Nightmares, made like 1983. That is literally the whole short is the opening of this. So it's like an anthology movie.
Yeah.
And like the very first one is a woman who's like going to get groceries or something, and then she stops at a gas station, and the guy's like, "Oh, there's someone in your back seat," and then you speed off. But like the way it's done in this, we're like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's a shot in the movie or in the sequence where like lightning flashes, and all of a sudden like the coat is back there.
Yeah,
and you're like, "Oh, she has the coat," and then she drives off. And then the coat slowly rises up, and you're like, "God damn!"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like this whole sequence is amazing.
Yeah. The every reveal, and then the fact that it's literally, is it a total eclipse of the heart?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't remember what the song was called, but the turn around, and she's singing along with it, and it's just like, oh my god, the dramatic irony in that is so good, so great.
Yeah,
I was just like,
it's so good.
Every time I watch this scene, I have a huge smile on my face the entire time. It's so good. And yeah, you take it out of the movie, it's a great short film.
Mm-hmm. And who was the actor? Chucky's voice.
Yeah, the gas station attendant, Brad Dourif.
Dourif.
Yeah.
Oh, so good in this.
Yeah.
Who stutters, and that's why he can't save this woman.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't matter how many times a horror movie will go to that well. Having an assailant in the back seat unknown to the person in the front seat gets me every time.
Yeah, works in Scream
Scream, Halloween, like Let Me In, the Richard Jenkins and I'm sure like I haven't seen Let the Right One In so long. I'm sure it has a similar sequence, right?
I can't remember either.
But like, God, that trope just gets me. It's so terrifying. And I check my back seat every time I get into my car. And honestly, I keep my back seat messy because I'm like, no one's going to be able to be back here. You know what I mean? And like, people are like, you should clean your car out. And I'm like, why? So someone can kill me in the middle of like a drive? Like, no, it's just not going to happen.
They can lay in my filth if they want to try to kill me. It's one of my favorite like urban legend stories too. Is that story of someone in the back
urban legend.
Yeah, it's just a really fun movie. There's a great sequence in the actual urban legend class where Joshua Jackson. Why wasn't Joshua Jackson in I Know You Did Last Summer? Like he would have brought something different to it.
Right.
He's a lot of fun in this. He sort of plays
Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah, Michael Rosenbaum also would have been a better
Joshua Jackson with his frosted tips.
Yeah,
in this movie.
Yeah.
He's such a douchebag.
He is.
Yeah, like so. There's a lot of like. And we haven't even talked about Jared Leto yet.
Oh my God, Jared Leto! I'm serious, guys. This is the movie he should have won his Oscar for because he's acting halfway normal in this. No, he's actually acting in this. Every other movie he's been in, like he's just acting like Jared Leto. This one, he's normal. Yeah, he's a normal person.
Yeah.
What this is before Jared Leto was weirdo Jared.
That's
Leto.
true. That's true.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. Alicia Witt is a good. Sort of like planet that the whole movie orbits around. Rebecca Gayhart's a lot of fun.
Oh my God, in
the final act,
she arguably makes this movie the iconic movie that it is.
she's great.
Danielle Harris.
Danielle Harris
as the goth.
listening
chick.
to Stabbing Westward,
Her
ordering drugs.
right? Her death scene is so good too.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
way they
Yeah.
shoot it and the way they set it up. You know, like I mean, because it's so cool. They have that scene where, you know, like she turns on the light, she's like, shut it off, and all that.
yeah.
You know, because it sets it up perfectly, and it makes the cops' reaction when it's like, you didn't even turn on the light. Like, it's like, well, of course she didn't,
Mhm.
but the cop's not going to know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, and it's just, oh my god.
And a great like updated version of that urban legend too. Of
Yeah, exactly.
of you should have turned on the light.
Right.
Yeah.
I just, oh my god, I love it.
Yeah.
And the fact that they like rule it a suicide after that, and just all these different things where like the cops are like, no, none of this is actually happening. It gives that great
Mhm.
dramatic tension because
Yeah.
this girl is literally by
I
herself
love
in this.
that the most realistic thing in this movie is that Tara Reid is a radio DJ. I do not buy that one bit.
Okay, but
No?
I would totally listen to that show.
I would too. It sounds like a lot of fun,
Yeah.
but yeah.
We just
Her
rewatched
death is
American
also
Pie
kinda
not
heartbreaking.
a couple days ago.
She is so good in that original movie. She's
Yeah.
awesome.
I have a lot of great things to say about that entire series, but her whole sequence,
SlashLot episode on American.
There-
I would do it. Let's do it.
her stalking sequence is great as well.
Mhm.
Yeah,
There's
there's not a bad kill in this movie.
No,
Honestly,
don't
I
think
love
so.
Michael Rosenbaum's movie or the death where, you know, she's got the beer bong and she pours like
Yep.
the bleach and pop
Yep.
rocks down his throat.
the
like,
Joshua Jackson death sequence is a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Yep.
The guard is a great.
Yes.
We'll talk about her a little bit later too.
Yeah.
But she's a lot of fun in this. She has like is it this one or is it another one where she has like, is this the one where she's like watching Coffee with Pam Grier?
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so that she's great. She sort of breaks up the tension a little bit, and she has
It's great. Like, it's great humor without
Yeah.
detracting from
Yeah.
any of the horror
yeah,
elements. Yeah.
and yeah, man, there's so many great sequences in this. Another one is the schoolmaster's death is so good. Like anytime someone gets their heel sliced open by a knife, that makes me
Mhm.
cringe. The car slowly rolling back towards him is just
Yeah.
this is a lot of fun. This movie holds up. This is like, for me, like the second best of this era's slashers.
Yeah.
Behind the first Scream.
Mhm.
Yep. I mean, there was a time where I would put Scream 2 up with the first one.
Boy, this
But after rewatching both of these and
Yeah.
more recently, I'm like, I like Scream 2. And I think it's very close to touching the original. But I'd also say that I would say Urban Legend and Scream 2 are about on par for me. I like Scream 2 a lot, even though I don't think the
Yeah.
killer reveal is as memorable.
are we done with,
Billy's mother.
are we done
Yeah.
with Urban Legend to move on to the other Scream, or we still have Urban Legend stuff?
I mean, I don't know. I could talk about Urban Legend
'Cause
for a whole
I-
hour,
I have
guys.
one final thing to say. I think this does a great combination of what Scream set up 2 years earlier was this meta take on horror movies, and what this movie does is create a very actual tense, scary slasher movie, and using the tropes of urban legends as it's set up, and it has the Joshua Jacksons, the Jared Letos, the Tara Reeds in this movie, like the fresh faces
Mhm.
that everybody's into, the teen idols. But it also takes Robert Englund and Danielle Harris, who are at that point in their careers set up as like definitive characters in horror franchises already.
Mhm.
Obviously, Danielle Harris in the Halloween movies and Robert Englund, Nightmare on Elm Street, and kind of flips both of them on their heads. Like, well, in this case, Robert Englund's not the killer; he's
Yeah.
just their teacher. And Danielle Harris is not the sweet little girl next door. She's the goth chick that
Right.
like you said, is buying drugs online. So I think it does a great meta aspect of, at that point, horror fans know who they are, and throwing them in this movie in completely different roles totally works. And yeah, this movie is so much fun. I had a blast watching it earlier this year for the first time, and yeah, this is.
This was a first time watch this year for you?
Yes. Yep.
Oh my gosh. I like grew up on
I
this.
saw some theaters.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. My sister actually 2 years ago, she got me the Scream Factory Blu-ray, and it's such a good disc.
Yeah.
It's such a good disc. But yeah, I remember seeing this one. I feel like I rented it with like friends or something back in high school.
Yeah, it's a great like
And
Halloween basement movie.
Yeah, it really is. And I've loved it so much over the years. And for a while I would find it on streaming.
And it has like a
services,
very simplistic like killer outfit.
Yeah.
Like, that's still scary. And it can sort of
it's literally a parka.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah. And I think it's a very easily it can sort of blend in with like a normal scene, like it can like a group of people. I could just see someone being like, yeah, I'm going to throw my hood up. Like, for example, the scene with the pool where the girl walks in wearing a parka, which, I mean, let's be honest, she's wearing a little too long in the scene. But the point is you know, this person thinks it's the killer. But this movie bangs all night. So yeah, it's so good. As far as like Scream, the series goes, I grew up loving Scream 2. And like I watched it with my wife a few weeks ago, and it doesn't hold up as much as it used to for me. It's a little, I don't know what it is.
I would agree. I don't think it's quite as strong as the first one, but like there are moments in it that I think rival the best moments in the first one. I think that opening kill with Jada, like I love that sequence.
Yeah,
like the dramatic tension in it. Like
my favorite is the Sarah Michelle Gellar sequence.
Yeah, and that's a great sequence. I love the escape from the cop car sequence.
Yeah,
I think that that to me is the most tense I've ever felt in a Scream movie. Yeah, honestly, I love it.
Yeah.
I do like the double-sided the windows with Courtney Cox and David Arquette too.
There's just some great set
stuff
pieces.
I think it's a perfect continuation of the first movie.
Yeah,
I think it commits the worst crime of the series in it, though. Unfortunately, killing Randy. But I think the villain reveal is fun. Who it is? I think the actors playing the two killers in that are hamming it up.
Yeah,
maybe a little too much.
It's good. It's not. It's just not as fun as Matthew Willard and Skeet Ulrich, And I think too, like what you don't like about it with them killing Randy, I actually really liked because it brings that like they say early on in the movie like no one is safe, anyone could die, and you're like okay, but like you're not gonna kill the main characters, and then you kill Randy almost 2 scenes later.
My problem is his death scene isn't a good death scene. If it would have been better, then
I don't know.
I also disagree with that.
I really like it.
He gets hauled into a van, and the van starts shaking. Lame.
I like it.
Show it.
Oh god. I think in showing the aftermath though, like it's just as good.
I mean,
it
like
doesn't work.
The shot of Courtney Cox is like now the most iconic shot of the entire series with her screaming and the camera pushing in. So I'm okay with the way he dies, but I don't know. Like I think there's just a little bit of it felt rushed because I think it comes out a year after the first one,
and it was like plus I think they were doing rewrites of the script as it was filmed.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I think the final reveal, the killer reveal, got leaked online,
so they changed it.
Who was it? Was it just?
I've never read the original script. No.
And because I know Kevin Williamson is talking. Plus, at this time, Kevin Williamson was also in high demand, and he was writing so many other movies while he was.
Wasn't he also
Scream
writing
2.
Dawson's Creek though too?
Yep.
Yeah.
So he was working
doing Dawson's
on that.
Creek. He was doing Scream 2, and I Know What You Did.
Wasn't he doing H2O at this time too, or no?
And then H2O right around that time.
Yeah. So I mean, like he was so busy, and it's like, of course, and that's kind of where I give him like leeway on I Know What You Did Last Summer is like the guy was so busy.
Yeah. He
wasn't going to knock it out of the park every time. Yeah. When you're writing that many things at once, how could you be?
Yeah. I also love that Dewey's theme music is the theme song from Broken Arrow, which I like. I remember seeing Scream 2 in theaters and being like, that's the Broken Arrow theme, but it works. Like there's this certain like the music sort of has like this mysterious quality to it. And whenever Dewey enters the movie, it's sort of like the music underlines that a little bit. And I really, really dig that reference a lot.
See, I always remember it from Dumb and Dumber.
You know, one of my favorite scenes of the entire Scream franchise too that I think is so underrated. It's not a kill scene. It's the scene where Dewey and Randy are going through who can be the killer.
Mhm.
Their exchange is so like their chemistry there is just
Yeah.
amazing, and just the way it's written is so much fun. And to me, like when I think Scream 2, that's one of the
Mhm.
sequences I
It's
think
one of
of.
the best.
Yeah.
scenes in
Yeah,
the
it's
movie.
good.
It's so good.
And it
Like,
gives us a character dynamic we never had in the first movie. Like, those
Exactly.
two never really talked to each other. in the
no,
first one.
there was no interaction. So I like that it gives us different character combinations and you
Yeah.
know expands on
Mhm.
those characters a little bit.
Yeah, I just think like if you have an early scene talking about the best sequels, you really need to bring it at this point.
Yeah.
So, and I don't
Mhm.
think I think the movie's good. Like, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy it, but like this movie really fell down with me this last viewing, and I would even rather watch Scream 3 at this point than Scream 2, which I know is
Really?
like
Wow.
which I know is like a big hot take, but like I just felt like Scream 3 was having way more fun than Scream 2
Yeah.
was. But that's just and I
Well, and
like I know like the whole thing with like James and Bob is really dumb and forced, but like
The brother thing is, I hate
Yeah.
that reveal.
Seth Foley is just not a
He's
fun-
easily the worst killer of the
Oh,
bunch.
yeah,
Easily.
I don't know. I think the review
But I
is
love
fun.
yeah, I love the whole like
It's bad, but it's fun.
I love the old Hollywood thing behind this, but
I think Parker Posey makes
yeah, I mean, well, Parker Posey makes
her,
every
and then
movie
isn't
better.
it Emily Mortimer?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like those
Yeah.
two are just phenomenal in Scream 3. I'd say like I think Scream 4 is my favorite sequel. And it's funny because when I first saw it in theaters, I didn't care for it.
Oh, I liked it.
Like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't like the Emma Roberts stuff at the end. I just didn't think she was all that convincing. And I thought the motive was dumb. And I think
I
that
don't
movie
think so.
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't anymore. That's the thing. All of a sudden, like all this like internet, you know, YouTube, TikTok sensations that started blowing up, and like, especially now working in a middle school, you wouldn't believe how many kids are like, I'm just going to be an internet star, and it's like,
Wes Craven is,
you know,
he's again way ahead of his time
yeah,
with that.
exactly.
He's 10
So
years ahead of his time. At
that
point.
movie grew into its ending so well,
Yeah.
and now it's to the point where I'm like, oh my god, this movie slaps. Like it's got some of the
That's
best
why
kills.
I'm curious where the fifth one's going, because I'm like, that one already touches on remakes. It's
Right.
basically a remake of the
Well,
first one in many ways.
And I wonder, so you know, with the title reveal being, it's just going to be Scream now.
I wonder.
I
if-
don't like that, but I also think that they wouldn't title it that unless there was some kind of
Do you-
in joke that they were going to make in the movie
I don't
about
know.
it.
Do you
um,
think Do you think the characters in this new one have watched Scream? Not Stab, but Scream.
No.
I don't know. It would,
That'd be too meta.
yeah, it
Because
might,
at that point, Neff Campbell is still playing Sidney
Yeah.
Prescott.
unless Nev
Sure.
Campbell is just playing Nev Campbell. Which would, I don't know if I like that.
I don't like that.
I don't know if I like the whole New Nightmare because that would be too much like New Nightmare. But I do think
I think that one's going Halloween 2018 as kind of its
Yeah.
jumping off point.
well, and I think horror is in a much different place than it was in 2011. You know what I mean? It's more mainstream now. In 2011, horror
That's
wasn't
also during its,
you know,
its the peak remake era. too.
Right.
Everything was getting remade.
and now you don't have as many remakes, but you're having these continuations. You're having these like almost like it gets more of a reboot.
So I feel like something's gonna get retcon. Maybe not retcons, but like
Yeah, like
Could you get okay? So
I could
don't
see
know,
it
we're
being
way
like-
off topic here, but could you guys see them doing Halloween 2018 and they ignore Scream 2, 3, 4?
yeah, like that's kind of what I was thinking is like almost like
Like-
taking the events and erasing it in some sort of meta way. You know what
Like,
I
is
mean?
that the reveal? And then not Dewey, Randy comes back. Like Randy's in this movie.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if
the
you guys
opening
saw
shot
the,
should be Randy. I don't know what he's doing,
That
but
would
it should
be
just
cool.
be Randy. That would be a great opening.
you know,
Randy watching Halloween 2018.
the few set photos that got released. Someone mentioned that it looks like they're back at Stu Macher's place, and I'm kind of like,
my
if-
whole pitch for
if they bring back Stu,
is Stu is going to be revealed as the killer.
yeah, and that would be,
Matthew Lillard has pushed it pretty hard.
yeah,
for the
I
last
would
couple years.
love if that's what it would be.
Yeah. I'm gonna avoid as much as I can with the new one
Yeah.
because I really want to go in blind. I just want to say Scream 4 is my favorite of the sequels. I
Mhm.
think the cast is great. I have
Hayden
talked about how
Panettiere is
much
amazing.
Hayden Panettiere
yeah.
in this is just like my dream woman. She's gorgeous. The way she reads the dialogue, she loves Suspiria. She's so great. I think Emma Roberts is having a lot of fun. I think
Eric Knudsen,
the Culkin kid who's in
so
this
great.
is really
Yeah,
good.
not Macaulay.
Eric Knudsen. He's got that camera
it's not
on
a
his.
Culkin kid?
No, it is a Culkin.
okay.
Kid. I said the not Macaulay one.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I don't know which one. Is it Rory?
Rory Culkin, yeah, the one with the
What a career
long
that
hair.
kid's having. Like,
Yeah.
really
He's
interesting.
good.
And I like Marley Shelton is great in this. Who Alison Brie has a fun sequence, and I don't know, like the fact that this essentially predicted what's happening now, or where things are now with technology. Like it's way ahead of its time.
Yeah,
the kills are great. The barn sequence is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
The cast as a whole, I just really dig it a lot.
The way that Sydney and Dewey find out, or Gail and Dewey find out that Emma Roberts is the killer.
Yeah,
is so like,
and
it's so good.
I forget who you guys chose as the greatest screen queen of all time, but for me, it's Sydney Prescott. Like,
I played Sydney
mine.
Prescott number one.
She's my favorite.
She was at number one.
Yep,
She's
she
just
was.
Nev Campbell is, and I sort of understand Nev Campbell's maybe like reluctance to come back to the series.
Well,
but
I'm even a little reluctant about a Scream 5 without Wes Craven.
Yeah,
it feels weird.
But I'm just this is who she is. I sort of like it's sort of fun to like go back and like, oh man, I grew up with Nev Campbell as Sydney Prescott, and I'm so glad that she's coming back, and I can't wait for Scream 5.
Yeah.
Can we touch on some of the other post Scream ones?
Yeah.
Just very briefly bring some of these up.
Yeah. The second Urban Legends is almost as good as the first one.
Is it really?
Yes.
I need to check it out.
Yeah, I haven't watched either of those sequels either.
And the lady security officer is at this one now too. This new school, and it's great because the sequel is at a film school.
Oh, that's so good.
So they play along with like, is it real? Is it not real? And so there's a lot of great stuff with that. I really dig it quite a bit. So go check that one out too.
That's so dope. It's not really like a well, it is kind of a post Scream slasher. It's from like 2006, I think. You guys know I recently rewatched Stay Alive, killer video game. Frankie Muniz. His name in the movie, I kid you not, is Swink Sylvania, and it is absolutely the most random ass character name ever. But I thought Swink was such a cool name, I started making my friends call me that when I saw it. It didn't last long, but
Sam the Swink.
And I rewatched it. I did fall asleep about 45 minutes in. The 45 minutes I saw were not good. But I used to watch the shit out of this movie. And so with it came a little bit of nostalgia. You know, it's one of those movies where I will never go to bat and recommend it and say it's good. But for me, I really like, I'm glad I got it on DVD because, shout out to Last Stop. Thanks for stocking movies that are, from my childhood.
Shout out to the one person who sold Stay Alive to Last Stop, and it's staying there for 10 years probably.
I'm honestly surprised it wasn't one of their $3.99 movies. It was still $6, but I was like, it's worth it.
We briefly touched on two of these. Joyride rules.
Oh God,
super underrated. Bride of Chucky, which is one of the best sequels of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect meta take on slashers in that movie too.
Oh yeah.
But two of my favorites out of this era, Halloween H2O, which is my favorite sequel of the Halloween series. Williamson doing rewrites on that movie. I think Jamie Lee Curtis that's her best performance as Laurie Strode is in that movie. I think it's a good combination of Halloween with the Scream era of horror.
I don't love H2O.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
It doesn't feel like it builds ever. Like, I just feel like the whole thing is just kind of a flat line, and then it gets to the ending and like, yeah, the ending's cool, but there was no build to it.
Yeah, I mean, it also has Josh Hartnett, who's just another actor who's devoid of charisma.
Yeah,
he is very anti-charismatic in that movie.
I do like the rollerblade to the face.
Yep,
I think that's a pretty dope kill, but that's really the only thing that nothing stands out.
I do say I want to see it again. I've seen it like 1.5 times.
Yeah,
so I need to rewatch it.
I mean, besides the first Halloween, that's the one I watched the most. I love that movie. And I don't know what it really is. I think maybe it is partially that it's set in this post-Scream era of horror. It has that style to it, while also harkening back to the Carpenter original. It has, Mr. Sandman at the beginning of the movie. It has my favorite ending of the series with her just like, how am I going to kill this guy? Well, I'm just going to chop his head off.
Mm-hmm.
I also love
it's ruined.
I also love the Halloween aesthetics that the movie has like throughout.
Mm-hmm.
It feels really nice.
LL Cool J is fun in the movie.
Yes, LL
doing
Cool
poetry.
J is fun.
Yeah.
I like it. I don't love it. I don't think it's one of Williamson's better works, but it's
better than I Know What You Did Last Summer.
It is 100%.
And then another one, super underrated, The Curve or Dead Man's Curve.
I have not seen this.
I have seen about 10 minutes.
Yeah, has Matthew Lillard in it.
Oh, well, I'll see it then.
Yeah, you need to watch. Sam, you'll love this movie. It's
anything Matthew Lillard, I'm in.
Yeah, except the thing is, it has like the ending is wild. Like it has like 3 different endings. The twists in this movie are crazy. So I don't know if you'll like that many twists. I don't know. It's really fun. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Sometimes I can get past it and really enjoy it. It really depends on how much fun I've had prior to it.
Yeah, this movie's it's a blast. Matthew Lillard is basically like this is Stu went off to college.
Nice.
So he's basically the same character in it. Carrie Russell's in it, and she's really fun in it.
Oh, I love Carrie Russell.
I do too.
Yeah.
They utterly wasted her in Rise of Skywalker. It made me so sad.
Yes, they did. But yeah, that movie rules. It's a lot of fun.
I'll have to check it out.
But yeah, do you have any other ones that I think the other ones that we would bring up would probably be a whole episode? Like Final Destination is worth a full episode.
Well, I
love
think
Final Destination.
I think there's a whole other section of films in this era that are not like post-Scream slashers, but like they're I guess what I would call like the post-Scream like
the
teen
MTV
poster
horror.
movies.
Yeah,
and we
like The Faculty.
I definitely want to talk about The Faculty.
Oh,
it's
my
one of
God.
it's one of my all-time favorite movies.
The Faculty is so good. It
what's
might
the
be
movie with
my
the-
favorite Kevin Williamson script behind Scream.
What's the Rennie
honestly.
Harlan movie where he directs the boys in that private school who are like vampires or something?
Is it The Covenant?
That's it. That's a fun movie.
That is a fun movie. I actually really dig
Final
that.
Destination. We should just do a Final Destination episode.
Yeah, we really
That
should.
whole series is great.
Final Destination 3. I ride hard for that.
I ride hard for every single movie
Yeah,
in that series.
It's so good.
Yeah. So there's we could do a whole like post-Scream teenage poster movies, but yeah, it's a lot of fun to look back at
It's
these
just
movies.
a fun era of horror. For like people saying, oh, at the turn of the millennium, like horror was dead.
I mean, it wasn't great.
It wasn't great, but there's so much fun to be had in a lot of that.
This is the era where like horror moved overseas and over like foreign movies really took over like what you could do with scary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the USA was like, oh, we'll just like make the remakes. We'll make the crappier remakes of those movies.
Which I actually dig the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake from 2003.
We can get to that at some point too, but
we should do a 2000s remake episode. That would be
we
fun.
Most definitely can.
Yes. There's a lot to talk. And I love that because the way I see horror at this point is Scream kicked off the post-Scream slashers and the teen MTV era ones. And then Saw comes out and does the whole torture porn, but also during that we're getting the J-horror remakes.
Yep.
And then for a good 10-year stretch, we get the Hollywood remakes of the classic.
We haven't even
80s
talked
slashers.
about the French extreme stuff that really pushed the boundaries of gore.
That's a big blind spot for
Same
me.
here.
So if we do that, it'd be most. I think it'd be honestly all first time watches for me.
Yeah, we got a lot to do.
Yeah.
A lot to do.
And this is just one specific era.
Yeah.
Really, there's so much that we can do with this show, and that's what gets me so excited about what we're going to be doing in the future.
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
And I get to revisit a bunch of stuff. I know you guys, I'm a little bit older than you guys, so I've seen a little bit more in terms of this era of film. So I'm really excited to kind of revisit some stuff, and maybe I'll put some on when my wife isn't watching and she'll just be, what the hell are you on? That happened the other day. So I'm super stoked to do all this stuff.
Oh man, this was a fun time.
This is a great episode 2.
Yeah.
Ah,
I love it. So is that where we sign off, boys?
I think so. I think
that
this
is
a good
it.
spot to end.
All right. Well, for all of you listeners, thank you for tuning into the SlashLot. If you don't already know this, you can find us on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Apple, Breaker, Pocket Cast, and Radio Public. Follow us on Facebook at Backlot605, on Instagram at Backlot605. We have a Twitter at Backlot605. Do you guys want to throw out like your individual tags or?
Nope.
Okay. Then I think that's where we will sign off.
Check out our watch along.
Yes.
Yes.
Check out our watch alongs. We are doing one a month. We just did a really fun one, Plan 9 from Outer Space, one of the best bad movies ever made.
If you like Simpsons references, this one's for you.
If you like Simpsons references and hot takes about Tom Cruise's The Mummy, this is
Sam Lenz is
something
your person to follow.
All right,
You should
guys.
sign off as Chief Wiggum, though.
All right, y'all.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. We'll spook you later.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.